Hello and welcome to Face to Face with Columbus City Schools. We're all about bringing family and community together to give you the tips, tools, and strategies you need to support you and your family. We are your hosts, Garima Woldemariam and Seneca Bing.
Today, we are talking about how you can start the school year strong. You will hear from the academics, ESL, and transportation departments, as well as get a sneak peek into Central Enrollment, one of the busiest places at the beginning of the school year.
We will share news and updates from our buildings, understand what's new in graduation requirements, and more. We will walk through the ins and the outs of what you need to be prepared for day one of the 23-24 school year.
Our roundtable discussion this evening will center around academics, ESL, which is English as a second language, and transportation.
We want to share how we are working together to help our students start the year off strong and end stronger. Welcome to Face to Face.
Hello, Columbus City Schools families. Get ready to kickstart the school year with a blast. I am thrilled to invite you to our second annual Back to School Family Resource Fair. It's going to be an event designed to empower our students to start the school year strong and end even stronger. On August 19th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., join us at Fort Hays Metropolitan Education Center for an unforgettable day. We've partnered with over 100 community organizations, vendors, and district departments to bring you an incredible experience. And guess what? We've got your back, Pack. Exclusively reserved for Columbus City Schools enrolled families, we're giving away free backpacks and school supplies to help you kickstart the school year with everything you need. But that's not all. We'll have health screenings, wellness exams, and sports physicals to ensure our students are healthy and ready for the classroom. Our Back to School Resource Fair is all about providing assistance and resources to our CCS families. With over 100 community organizations and district departments present, you'll leave with the tools your students will need to embark on a successful school year. So mark your calendars and join us for a fun-filled day with valuable information, resources, music, games, and activities for the whole family. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Together, let's ensure our students thrive from start to finish. We can't wait to see you on Saturday, August 19th at our annual Back to School Family Resource Fair.
Welcome to Face to Face with Columbus City Schools. I am Seneca Bing, and we have the honor of being at Central Enrollment with our Chief of Student Services, Dr. Michelle Klein. Welcome.
Hey Seneca, welcome to Central Enrollment. Central Enrollment is where the action happens for enrolling your student in grades pre-K through 12, right here on the Fort Hays campus. So Seneca, we have a list of things that are on our website that parents need to make sure they bring in order to enroll a student. But we are of the modern age, and so if parents prefer to register online, you can actually enroll online. We have an OLR called an online registration that allows a parent to do their online registration at home, at the library, wherever they have internet access, or if they prefer, right here at Central Enrollment. We have people to help. We use our Proprio language system so that we can help people of all languages complete their Central Enrollment application. Once that application is done, Seneca, they register for an online appointment or an in-person appointment, whichever they prefer. We are here to meet their needs, and if it is an English language person that speaks something different than English, we have services that allow someone from their language to come here and help them enroll so that they will feel comfortable. So here you can see a group of people already registering their students so that they're ready for the beginning of the school year. We'd like to thank all of you that have registered your students and encourage you, if you haven't registered yet, to get into Central Enrollment or key up Columbus City Schools for online registration.
understand you have 98 employees who are here ready to serve. And so what are some tips that you will give families as they are thinking about maybe they have to enroll their child or they just need some information?
Well, the first thing I would say is do it now. Don't wait until the end of August. Go ahead and enroll now so that we can get your child's bus, so that we can get their schedule, and so that you can get them all ready for the first day. You don't want them to be behind. The second thing I will share is make sure you read with your children. Read with them each and every night. Reading opens the world to each and every child, and it makes a difference in their learning.
So I spent many years as a school counselor, and school choice was one of those things that we had every year to learn about. And so please give us some more information.
Sure. So our school choice allows parents to select up to 3 schools that they would wish for their child to attend. And the lottery is done electronically. Our wonderful IT department has made it very easy, so parents just go online and select their schools. We also have a school fair every year so that our parents can learn about each school so that they can decide which is the best school for their child, which fits their learning style. So that's a great opportunity for our parents. But Seneca, there's one more thing I didn't get to share with you. So the last thing I wanted to share is 10 years ago when Central Enrollment was imagined by a dozen people, they actually started out in the very front room of health services. None of this was completed. We've been through multiple renovations, and we now have a state-of-the-art facility that is one of the best in the country. But we've actually taken it a step further, Seneca. Many of our new immigrants coming in need a tuberculosis test. And so we have made it very easy for them to go right across the street to our nationwide children's hospital clinic. And this allows them to get their quantiferin gold done the same day and the results back to us, resulting in no waiting for enrollment, which is a great thing for our children.
So now I am joined by Michael Taylor, who is the supervisor of enrollment services, and he's going to walk us through some very important things that our families need as they come to enroll their students.
Their online registration asks them their basic demographic information and things like that, and also they upload their documentation as well to that. Documentation for regular enrollment includes birth certificate, proof of address, and picture ID for the parent. And then if they are enrolling for pre-K, they have an income. There's also some other documents that we ask for if applicable, and that would be like custody, withdrawal records, grade cards, things like that. But those are not actually required for enrollment. Once they complete the online registration and submit it, they will get a new screen and an email to where they can schedule an appointment. We offer virtual appointments done through Zoom, as well as those that have difficulties maneuvering the Zoom meetings. We have help here, and we also offer on-site appointments as well.
All right, and now we are joined with Jessica Householder, and she is a student data specialist. She's going to walk you through Parent Portal because it's very important to be able to get in there and to do all kinds of things for your students. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. So the first thing you'll want to do is open our website on a browser, so that's ccsoh.us. Right from our webpage, you will scroll to the Parent Portal box. So when you're on our website and you scroll down, it just depends on what size your monitor is, but you'll click on the box that says Parent Portal. And as a new user, you will click the New User Activation. And then you will enter the 32-digit key that you were given at the enrollment appointment or that you have received from your school.
Okay.
If they did not, they're welcome to email us at parentportalaccess@columbus.k12.oh.us. Send us an ID and the student's name and date of birth, and I'll be glad to send the activation key out to them.
Okay, so if they lose it, they are able to email
Absolutely.
you. Okay.
And once you set up your account, this is null and void. So you do not have to remember that 32-digit code.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
So once you put this in, it's going to welcome you and let you put in your information. You get to create your own username and then your own password. Very important to remember usernames and passwords. because although we can reset it for you, we may not be available right at that moment, and I don't want you to miss a deadline. So very important to remember your password. And then tap down and confirm the password that you just created, and then we're going to click submit. Once we create our account, we're going to hit back to login. We're going to go ahead and log in, make sure that this works, and it's going to require us to enter our security email.
And that security email is the parent's email address, the student's email address?
Yes, this is the parent's email address, because this is what we're going to, how we're going to notify you of any changes, any updates, any information is going to come directly to the parent. So once you enter that in, the enter campus password, that's the password you just created. So that's the password for your account. Click save, and it's going to open up with all of my students are going to be shown. It's going to remind me what my home screen is, and then we have our menu here with pretty much everything you would need to do would be right here. Although we didn't give an example here, there will be videos on our website with, they're going to be individual videos, and they're going to have instructions with written instructions, verbal instructions, and also a example.
Okay.
Just like I did here, that's what those videos are.
The start of the school year is exciting, stressful, and an exuberant time for everyone. It's the time to meet new people and re-engage with those you haven't seen in a few months. Behind the scenes, we are working really hard to prepare to welcome over 45,000 students, 9,000 staff members, and many community members for the 23-24 school year. Sitting with us today, I have Dr. Todd Walker, who is the Chief Curriculum and Instruction Officer. I have Myra Talley, who is an ESL supervisor with us today. And then I have Mr. Rodney Stuffelbein, you have a name similar to mine, who is the Executive Director of Transportation, who will share all things transportation with us. So today we're starting to do something new as a roundtable discussion. Last year, as you guys were familiar, we would do our virtual family engagement sessions where we did those live and every Tuesday and Thursday. This year, we're wanting to sit and have authentic conversation with our internal staff members who will share the inside scoop on everything, in this case, academics, ESL, and transportation. So let's get right into it, because as you know, the top of the school year is coming right in a few weeks. So Dr. Walker, can you tell us some tips and tools and strategies for families to really start strong and have a great academic school year?
Yeah, so I think for our families it's important to get students on a routine. We know that the summer is a time of great exploration and investigation, and kids have unique activities. Many of our students have participated in our summer learning experience, and so those are unique opportunities. But scheduling is important. We know that attendance is critical for students' academic performance or for them doing well. So getting kids on a consistent routine in terms of a consistent wake-up time, consistent bedtime, getting them into the habit of engaging in some sort of learning work. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can just be 15 minutes to 20 minutes a day of reading. That helps to keep students engaged and make sure that they're prepared for learning when the school year starts. Another thing is just making sure that they're checking with that back to school hub that's on our website. And that will make sure that parents are aware of materials that they need to have for their students. And that will be organized. Right now it's generally organized, but it should also be organized very soon by school. And so they'll be able to look at their particular school and say, okay, what sorts of materials do my students or my children need to have to be prepared when they come back. So those are two tips that I think are important. Just sort of getting them into a routine and some sort of intellectual stimulation, and reading is a good way to do that, or some time to work on puzzles or math, some sort of stimulation. And then also ensuring that parents are prepared to take advantage of that tax-free weekend, which is August 4th and 5th, and knowing what the materials are that they'll need to have for their students.
Thank you. And high school looks a little bit different than when we went to high school. There's this digital divide that we're learning. We're coming off of COVID. What tips and strategies do you have for those families that are supporting their high schoolers this year?
Yeah, so, I was a high school principal for 10 years, and so high school is near and dear to my heart. I think particularly with high school, it's important for parents to know that they have to stay engaged. Engagement with a high school incoming freshman is just as important, if not more so, than it is with a kindergartner. And I think as our kids get older, and you mentioned the digital divide, and so much of their time now is spent on TikTok and Instagram or Finstagram or whatever platforms they're using. But it's still important. Parents need to know. Care providers need to know. Grandparents, uncles, aunties, whoever's operating as that guardian, as that steward over that child, needs to know that young person still needs you to be invested. Even with my own kids, I remember when they were in high school, and sometimes they say, oh, well, Mom, Dad, I got it, but they still deep down want you to be there. And so going to the orientations are important. Checking up with your student to see how they're doing. Making sure that they have a consistent time where they're sitting down, whether it might only be an hour or 2 hours a night. Some of our students have work obligations, but making sure that you're still attending to that. And then keeping in contact with your students, teachers using that Infinite Campus portal, with the counselor, particularly as they get into that junior and senior year, to make sure that all of the things they need to have to be prepared for graduation are in place. Because we have opportunities during the summer where kids can get caught up if by chance they're missing something. But a lot of times that takes an engaged adult to make sure that they're helping to follow up. Certainly our school principals, our high school principals and guidance counselors do a fantastic job of notifying and working with our parents and our students. But parents in particular are irreplaceable. And to the degree that they can be engaged and involved, whether that is a parent or a grandparent or auntie or uncle, some concerned adult, makes a huge difference in student success.
Yes, thank you. And so what I hear you saying too, just lean in more even when your kids are in high school, and make sure that you're just as engaged, if not more. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the roles change. You're doing more coaching. I've heard it said, and I think it's true. I found this true for me as a parent, that when your kids are little, your hands are involved and you're physically exhausted because you're running after them, and you're the Uber, right? But as they get older, it tugs more at your heart, at your mind, and so you still have to stay engaged. Your engagement shifts, but your presence is important, and I think parents of adolescents need to know that, because there can be a period of temporary insanity, and I say that in jest, that happens during adolescence, where you wonder, hey, what is this kid thinking about? Because kids during that time period are going through all sorts of emotional changes, and so it just becomes important, to your point, lean in, and that I think is appreciated. And sometimes you don't hear it till later. I have a 22-year-old and a 19-year-old, and they're just now getting to the point where things that I did that they fought me on, 14, 15, 16, they're now saying, hey, Dad, thanks for that. So encouragement for parents, hang in there.
Yes, thank you. A lot of good tips in there. And so one of our first lines of interaction before even our students head into the building are our transportation department. And before we start with your questions, I want to just say thank you all for the hard work that you all do. People don't know the behind the scenes of all the work that goes into getting our students into buildings. So I want to just have you talk a little bit about, so if I'm a family member sending my kids off, what are some ways to make sure that I am successful as a parent and as a student to get there on time and make sure I have access to all my bus scheduling?
Yes, so first, thank you for that. Transportation is sometimes misunderstood. We actually begin the next year's process of preparing for the next school year before the last school year is even ended. This is the routing process that we go through. It takes a long time to make sure that we have things in place that ensure that our students are successful and that our staff members are successful in getting those students to school on time. We know last year was a very difficult time for everyone. We made a very drastic change in January. From January to the end of the school year, we've seen great success. We want to keep up with that success. So our staff has been working diligently with the routes for this coming year since probably mid-May. We're not completed 100% yet, but we're getting very close. We're far better than where we were a year ago at this time. Once those routes are 100% complete, I would like to direct the parents and the guardians to go to the Infinite Campus Parent Portal. That will be one of the tools that they can use to find out their transportation routings, bus stops and times and things. Another aspect is the mailers. We will be completing those here within the next week or so, and they'll be hitting the mailboxes approximately about 2 weeks before school starts. Some of our families that we have now for our charter non-publics, I know Woodcrest is getting ready to start. Those mailers they should have already received at this point. But the majority of our CCS mailers will go out about 2 weeks before school starts, and that will direct them to the bus stop location and the time for pickup, and then they can reassure that and confirm that's correct by looking in Infinite Campus and the parent portal and making sure those match. And if there is any discrepancies there, please reach out as soon as possible so that we can get to work on fixing those.
Awesome, yes. And so I heard you mention a couple different routes, the digital parent portal going in there, also a hard copy for those of us like me who enjoys still receiving mail. And so I want to also talk a little bit about the opt-in option, because again, clarification is key moving into the new school year. So tell us about that process and what do families need to make sure to do?
Okay, so last year was a different option. They tried a new routine. And if you wanted transportation, you needed to opt in. We saw that that was a difficult process for us. It didn't provide us the adequate information that we thought we should have. So this year we took a different approach. If you were a part of transportation or utilized CCS transportation last year, there's no need for you to opt in. The only students that would have that need to opt in is if you did not receive transportation from us or you chose not to use transportation last year. This year we won't know about you needing transportation, so you would need to go to the parent portal and then opt in for transportation at that point. The process right now, if to guarantee that we can get you picked up for the first day, you need to do that by July 31st. And that will guarantee that we can get you on a route and transportation set for you for the first day of school. If it's after July 31st, we'll get to the routing process for you as quickly as we can, but there's not a guarantee that we'll have you routed and on a bus route for the first day of school.
Yeah, it's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that I thank you for explaining the processes. Another department that works hand in hand with transportation, ESL. Myra, I know we are the kings and queens of acronyms in the district in educational settings. So for those of us that don't know what ESL is, could you tell a little bit about what that acronym stands for and the work that your department does to support students?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here. ESL stands for English as a Second Language, and we work with students to make sure that we are developing literacy and English proficiency skills with them, making sure they have access to academic grade level content areas. But in part of the parent side, we make sure that we provide communication support for them, become the bridge between the home and school to make sure that they understand about transportation, what to do during the first day of school, the supply list that they need. So our call center, our staff with our top 5 languages, personnel that speaks our top 5 languages, which is Spanish, Somali, Nepali, French, and Arabic. In addition to that, we know that there are also refugee languages that probably needs a lot more support than students and families that has been here for a while. So with that, we have partnered with the ESC and us together to work with a couple of African liaisons. So they will be part of our department for the following school year to provide support in Pashto as well as Dari. And we have a gentleman who also speaks Swahili and Kinyarwanda to address those families from the Congo. So, we're doing as much as we possibly can within our department. In addition to the support that we provide in our department through our personnel, we also partner with vendors that can also support schools as well as parents if they speak another language that we do not provide. So just give our department a call at 365-8802, and we can connect them with a bilingual personnel that is able to help them with the opt-in process, help them with figuring out parent portal, any questions they have regarding first day of school, if it's understanding their bus route, understanding their, what school that they are enrolled at, and if it's the right fit for their child, based on making sure that it's their home school by address, instead of a school that, oh, I see the child is here, school is across the street, but my child needs ESL. So we want to make sure that we provide them to attend a school that provides the correct support for our kids.
And Myra, this hits home for me and you. We're both immigrants to this country, and so I know that it's a different move, it's a different groove how we access information and education in general here in the United States, and being more proactive is the route. Talk to us a little bit about the things on your website, the different resources that you have, because as a teacher too, there were a lot of forms that we were giving out, and I didn't always have them in different languages, but yes. I know you've made a lot of changes in that way.
Yes, we are currently working with our technology team out at Kingswood to make sure that we provide CCS personnel access to just a one-stop shop to be able to access and request interpreters for just a parent meeting, contacting a parent, for an IEP, or just any, an open house that should be coming up here soon. Requesting for a phone call, just to relay a message, saying that little Muhammad needs help to understand what bus he's on. So we have someone that can contact the parent and speak to the student at school as well. We also have a hub where schools can request documents to be translated. So they can submit that request, and it comes directly to our office, and a personnel will reach out to make sure that we are translating the information and getting it to the hands of our families. Auto dialers also is a big thing. So because we can't guarantee that every single family is able to read in their native language, so we also provide auto dialers to different departments. So if you would like a message sent out regarding transportation, reach out to us and we can get it recorded in our top 5 languages and send it out to those specific families.
Yeah, a lot of accessibility, and just ending with, it's not a hindrance to be multilingual, right? It's actually a gift. And so I thank your department for honoring, the many different languages that we have in this district. So I thank you all for making time, from transportation, academics, ESL, big powerhouse departments within us. I hope this won't be the last time that we have you at our table, but it's a busy time, so we're going to let you all go. But thank you again, and this is Garima. We'll see you again at the next round table. Thanks again for joining us for our first episode of Face to Face with Columbus City Schools. We hope that all of our students and staff have a safe and successful school year.
As parents ourselves, we like to start the school year off setting positive intentions for our children. We invite you to pause and set positive intentions with your children. Let's work as partners to make it a phenomenal year.